interesting is that most parents, we're talking 99.99999% of parents in the world, we all have kids, and most of us have never taken a class on actually how to discipline a child or a teenager. Isn't that interesting? And yet we go about disciplining them all the time, some of us more than others. And yet, so like, how many things in life do you just do when no one's ever given you any training? Not that many. I mean, before you have to drive a car, you have to do a lot of training. Before you even like cook a recipe, you have to read the recipe. Before you get a gun, you got to do lots of background. You should do gun safety training. I mean, there's just so many things. So now here we are, we're talking about this powerful thing called discipline. And I want to give you there's 5 awesome action steps. And if you use these tools, your discipline is going to be so effective. What makes discipline effective? Well, most discipline is not effective. Well, it's a very simple answer. And if you've been watching my videos or been under my teaching for all, you already know the answer is that most discipline does not really reach our kids' hearts. It doesn't reach their hearts. In the same way that the government's food pyramid doesn't reach our heart, your boring PowerPoint presentation doesn't reach our hearts, some stupid lecture doesn't reach my heart or change my behavior. The key here is how do we reach our kids' hearts so we can do good, build good character, responsibility, morals. Now, I've done a lot of teaching on what I call emotional consequences. That is not what this is about. This is actually about how do we carry out natural discipline, because the world is filled with order and structure. If you speed, you get a speeding ticket. If you break the law, you might end up in jail or prison. I mean, if you don't do your taxes, there are consequences to this world. Now, I love talking about this because I've been doing this Parents Club for many years now, and I almost never talk about discipline. Have you noticed that? Why do I almost never talk about consequences, discipline? Well, there's a few reasons why. One is because it's just so overrated. It doesn't work. The purpose of discipline is for behavior modification. And so why would you do something that doesn't seem to work? I mean, I've had, my oldest daughter is almost 18. I almost never have to discipline my kids, nor never had to discipline them. Now, yes, there's a lot more natural consequences happening when they're younger because, they're learning and they're 4 and 5 and they're learning about different things. And hey, this is what happens if you break this toy, and this is what happens if this happens. But I just want to show this to really fill your heart with heartwarming stuff right now, because if you are in a pattern of discipline, I'm going to free you from that right now. Or if you are in a pattern of passivity, where you just feel like you're getting walked over by your kids, or they're just really acting out, they're just out of control, they're not listening to you, I want to free you from that too. So here is some awesome life-changing steps on how to give your child proper discipline, consequences, do's and don'ts. And then at the end of this, for those of you here with me live on the Zoom, I'd love to hear your thoughts, your concerns, what you liked about it, what you hated about it, how you have maybe used this tool for good in your life. Okay, step number 1 is so key. And most parents do not do this. Most parents speak out of their butts when they are disciplining their kids. They give a lecture or they give the same cheesy things that you might see on TV. It's so wild. The number 1 thing to do if your child is acting out is your first thing you want to think about is we want to show them our humanity. Show our kids our humanity. So before we discipline our kids, here's your first step. Show them your humanity. Now, if you think about it, anytime a kid acts out, says something snotty to you, mean to their sibling, doesn't clean up, leaves a wet towel on the ground, whatever it is, we as parents, we have 4 choices. And now these choices have already been in your mind, they're subconscious. I'm just bringing them to their conscious. Number 1 is we can avoid. And avoidance is in like, a good way, not like in a negative people-pleasing or conflict avoidant way. Avoidance is like, don't sweat the small stuff. Of all these 4 options that I'm describing now, that is the main thing I do now. Because yes, I've got 3 kids, they're imperfect and they make mistakes, but there's not such like so much of it going on. It doesn't happen very often. So when they do act out because they're hormonal or emotional, or they're just feeling their things, or they say something the wrong way, It's not a big deal. I'm not going to discipline them. I'm not going to have a big heart talk over about it. It's like, let's just go with the punches. Like, I hope that they would treat me that way. Like, I hope that we're hanging out together, like some house party. If I say something, rude to you or cross the line, I hope you don't sit down and try to punish me or discipline or take my phone away or lecture me or give me some cheesy pep talk like you're Tony Robbins or something. So option one is we can just avoid. And as you can see here, if you are taking notes at home, I got 2 separate lists going at now. Okay, number 2 is we can do our reactions. We can do our reactions. If you don't know what your reactions are, if you are members of my Parents Club, then look at question number 2 on the Being the Best assessment. There's a whole bunch of them on there. And I put those on there so you can raise in your own mindfulness and your self-awareness so you're aware of what you're doing, but also so you can study your kids in a much more deeper way, that these are just reactions that normal people do when they get their buttons pushed. And these are not good. These are not okay for us to do the reactions. We want to be the adult in the relationship. We want to be a model of health and self-care and mental health and good communication and self-control and love to our kids. We want all that we do to be done in love, and we want to be examples of love, and we want to be hope dealers and just be these present, connected role models, even though none of us are this perfect parents, including me. So no one, and when we do a reaction, it doesn't work. It's not like your kid's ever going to come to me, hey Dad, I want to tell you this pep talk you're giving me. Oh my gosh, it's changing my life. It's changing my life. Thank you. Hey mom, I know how you just snapped me right now. I get it now. I get it. I need to stop doing this. I get it. Thank you for snapping at me. Hey Dad, I just want to let you know this last grounding, oh gosh, it really hit me in the heart. I'm changed. This grounding, this is the best one yet, right? These things, this is not how kids talk, because these reactions, these don't work. Number 3 option is discipline. We want to try to avoid that at all cost, because I told you why. But there is a time and a place for everything, and today we are going to talk about that place. And number 4 is this tool that I called a heart talk, is that we really engage our kids' hearts with our hearts. We show them our humanity. We talk to them about this issue, and we build trust and a win-win in that, so that this behavior either stops immediately, or we have confidence that they're really working on it, not giving us some weak sauce, I'm sorry, going to be done now. But we really move towards a place of win-win. So we feel like we're winning, like we feel good. Okay, kid's imperfect, but we're moving to the right direction. I feel like I can trust them. But they feel like they're winning too. Like, okay, I know my parent doesn't like that, but I love my parent. I want to work with them. I want to be flexible. I'm not trying to people please my parent. It's hard for me to do this, but that's it. So here we are going back to, there's a time and a place. So if you find that you've tried so many different things, try this instead. First step is show them your humanity. And how this looks, here's an example of 1 out of 10 million options of how this might look. Hey, can we talk about what just happened? Yeah, hey, it just is really hard. It really hurts me, hurts my heart when, you talk like this and you say things like that, and then they're going to do their thing. So yeah, I feel just so disconnected. It really is hard on our relationship, and I don't know what to do, blah, 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 blah. And that blah, 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 blah is for you to fill in how your kid would respond to this role play, right? And so yeah, I don't know what to do, because I don't want to yell at you. Like, do you want me to yell at you? No. Right, you want me to punish you? No. Right, but what about me? This is not working. How you set the table matters to me. You're being so dramatic. Just because I didn't set the table? Yeah, it is. You're being weird. How are you being so dramatic over setting the table? Right, well, this is how we're different. How my kids set the table and do their chores, it really means a lot to me. That's weird. Right, it's weird to you, but not to me, because I'm different than you. And I nerd out, and I get excited about different things in you. I'm hecka old. Okay. So do you understand how you doing something as little as setting the table like really matters? Because I worked hard on the kitchen, on the food. So like it feels good. I feel like I have a partnership, like I'm not alone when you just set the table. Okay, but why do you like that? It's just a table. Right, you'll see. Maybe you'll be like this when you get older. Parents are different. Like these little things, they matter to us. Number 2 is ask for partnership and trust. Step 2, before you do discipline, you say, hey, it would mean a lot to me if you were just to look me in the eye and say, Mom, you can trust me. I'm gonna get this grade up. I know it's a D, and that's not cool. Okay, I'll get the grade up. No, that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking you to look me in the eye and give me your word as a young adult that you're gonna do this work, get this grade up. Why? I maybe I will, maybe I won't. Right, but this is what I'm talking to you about. Like, do you want me just to take your phone away? No, right? I don't want to do that either. But like that, we need to have like partnership here. Why does it matter? These are my grades. No, because your grades matter to me, and how you do in school, how your work matters to me. So, okay, so you don't want to go to, let's just make up another scenario. Let's say they don't want to go to the Cherry Festival because they're bored. Well, but this is what is important to me, but I don't want to go, right? But I do so much for you, and it helped me to feel loved and connected to you. If you could we could go to this Cherry Festival, take a picture, drink some hot chocolate, and just enjoy each other. Fine, I'll go, but I'm gonna have a bad attitude. Oh my gosh, no. See, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for you to go, and I want you to please like commit and give me your word that you're gonna go and like have a good attitude. Like we'll be off our phones and work together, because this is what I want. So do you want me to yell at you or call you names or punish you or just, no, that's weird. But I don't want to just go without you, because like I want this to be a family adventure. Okay, I get it now. Okay, yes, I'll go. Good. It means a lot that I can trust you to be able to like care for my feelings, right? Because we can teach, a 7-year-old or a 17-year-old about the psychology of trust and partnership, selflessness, the psychology of entering into someone's humanity, having empathy for them. What are they going to be like when they're older, right? So remember, we're not just doing this for ourselves. We are raising adults here. Step 3. And if you don't get what you want, let's say they don't want to go to the Cherry Festival because they have a billion different reasons they want to. And let's say they don't really like doing that one chore, setting the table. Well, then your step 3 would be, if you don't get obedience, and I know some of you hate that word, even though it's a great word. If you don't get teamwork, obedience, cooperation, try for a win-win. Okay, so we just keep having this problem, and I keep asking you to empty the garbage, but you don't empty it. I know, because I hate the garbage. It's nasty. Okay, well then let's work together. Would you like to maybe have a different chore? Yes. All right. I didn't know if you hated the garbage. Let's work it out together. What chore would you like? None of them. That's not going to be a win-win for me, right? That's not a win-win. Just like I told you 2 days ago, you going to the Cherry Festival but having a salty attitude, that is not a win-win, right? Okay, so why don't we do this? Okay, so if you start doing these activities, then I will take over the garbage. Do we have a deal? See, try for a win-win. See, we're just trying to negotiate, trying to work together, trying to work with our kids, trying to be flexible, because we are powerful. If we want to discipline them or punish them, we sure can. But if we want to be passive or people pleasing and just let it go and go to the Cherry Festival without them, we sure can. But why? Why do that? Instead, do the hard work of this. Step 4 is to foreshadow detailed discipline. Foreshadow detailed discipline. If you want to use the word threat, go ahead, use that word. Threaten detailed discipline. Let's say that you're struggling with screens and you want to use this amazing tool called a Trust Screen Fast. Here's how it might sound. Hey, I am sick. of us arguing about screens. I know, me too. Just leave me alone. No, I can't just leave you alone, because this is like a very powerful device, right? It's just blah, 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 blah. Right, so here's what I'm thinking. You keep like arguing with me about screens, and you want more time, and you're arguing about extensions. It's so obnoxious. I asked you to get out of the house, you don't go, or you come off your game and you're raging. It's just so painful. I've tried so many things with you. I've shown you my humanity, son. I've showed you how much this is breaking my heart. Number two, I've tried working with you as a team, trust, partnership. We tried to work out a win-win. And so this is just not working. So I need to tell you that if this happens again, then I'm going to be bringing some discipline in, because I just can't sit back and let this happen. Okay, what are you going to do? I'm going to do what's called like a trust screen fast. What's that? Which means you're going to lose your phone for a period of time. Well, how long? I don't know. And I'm not going to tell you a time. Why not? Because when you can show me that you can balance your own life, you can do well with your studies, manage your temper, get out of this house every Saturday and every Sunday, well, then we can then talk about you having a phone again one day. What? What do you mean? Why don't you take it away for 30 days? You need to give me a time. That's not fair. We've already tried that, and it didn't work. So I just want you to know, if this goes down, so there's no big surprise, right? You know this is what's going to happen. All right, and so obviously I took like a larger topic there with the screen addiction, trust, screen fast, but you can think, you can even ask me questions if you want in a second about how could you do this with your situation. Like one mom, I don't know if she's here right now, she's in the parents group, looks like she's not here. She's working, Stacy from Alabama, she's just working really hard, breaking these cycles with her 12-year-old daughter and her 11-year-old daughter, doing a lot of hard talk, a lot of lovey-dovey stuff, but there's got to be a time and a place to say, okay, I've tried this stuff, I'm going to try something else now, and I'm just going to bring in some discipline. And now your next step would be to bring about intense natural consequences. That's your last step. Intense natural consequences. Actually, not your last step. Because so many consequences that parents give, in my opinion, if you're working with your sons and daughters for 24 years, it's really not intense enough. Like, I'm the guy who's making all these lovey-dovey TikTok videos. I'm the hard talk guy, but I'm also the guy who's like, look, when it's time to discipline, you've got to discipline. You've got to foreshadow it, and then you've got to bring down the hammer. Don't take someone's screen away for a week. That doesn't work. Instead, you've got to do a trust screen fast. You say, I don't never want to go back to this. Or I'm like micromanaging you. I'm spying to see if you're looking at YouTube or doing your homework. This is so obnoxious. I don't ever want to parent this way. And any parent coach or professional that tells you to micromanage your kid because he's got ADHD, look over his shoulder, checking in on him. Oh my gosh, what horrible advice. They're making your life horrible. They're making it's a full-time job. It's like they're asking you to sign up to be freaking cop, but not kindergarten cop with Arnold Schwarzenegger. They're asking you to be like freaking cop in your house and make your house like a jail cell. What kind of dumb advice is that? No, the reason why you have jail cells is because you have a lack of trust. So instead of becoming a better police officer or correctional officer, instead become a better teacher and teach your kids about trust. Because in this house, we don't give out rifles to kids. That's dangerous and irresponsible. We don't just give around car keys to 12-year-olds. No. Instead, in this house, everything is a privilege. You are entitled to nothing. You get nothing. That's a line from Willy Wonka Chocolate Factory. He goes, you get nothing. Instead, I love you and I care about you and I want to work with you, but we've got to be on the same page here. And we've got to have trust. Because trust, if you ask 10 people what trust means, you're going to get 10 different responses. It's such a big word. So one of the greatest, things, if you think about some of the greatest parents of all time, is what do they have? Well, what they do is they know how to teach about trust. If you think about some of your best relationships right now that you have, whether they're friendships or loving relationships, it means you have a lot of trust. You can trust, you can show up at your best friend's house, and it's going to be a cool, fun time, a safe place. And you can just, whether you want to chill and grill or you want to be up and crazy, it's just going to be like, this is some good vibes right now. And some of the worst relationships you have, or if you're in a painful marriage or in a painful parenting dynamic, it's probably because of trust, right? So instead of doing stupid stuff like discipline or yelling or reactions, instead focus on the issue at hand. And then your last thing is you always want to show your humanity. And here's how it would look. I do not want to discipline you. I don't want to do this. It's no fun. It hurts me that we've come to this. And I feel kind of scared, like, is this going to hurt our relationship? What's it going to be like? I didn't want to come to this. I tried so hard. So then if it does come to discipline, well then it's the message is going to be clear to the child. You brought this on yourself. Now, some of you, I want you to call me names right now in your head, because some of you are thinking, oh my gosh, Sean, you're such a hippie. You're so soft. You're so this or so that. Let me argue with you for a second, okay? Because I don't know if you know this, but I get like super negative comments on my videos like all the time. In fact, I actually had one pulled up to read it to you because it was like so corrosive. Like people tell me like, it's because of people. I recently made this video of like me, I'm on a river and it's a beautiful river and it's like a little cheesy, inspirational, 20-second TikTok about parenting is kind of like a river. We can't control a river. We can't force our will upon a river. And we have to, but we have to have a right mindset when we're on a river. And it was like a positive video. And this guy just railed into me. He said like, you're the reason why our society sucks. You're raising soft kids. Dude, the guy doesn't know me from Adam, man. He doesn't know how badass my daughters are or anything about me. He's just railing at me. And I responded to him with some very loving and kind, encouraging words back to him. But here's why I want to argue with you for anyone who's thinking this. Okay, recently, just very recently, I heard a very dark story. I'll call the guy David because that's his name. And here's what happened. This guy was working at a church. Now, if you think of any job, every job says we're like a family or we're a part of a group here. Every job's, should say like, hey, we want to work together. We're a team, whatever cheesy language. But especially if you work at a church, there's probably a lot of that lovey-dovey type language. So if you think of all the places of employment you could work at, you would think that a church would be like the most patient and the most loving and the most kind, the most generous, the most cautious. And so David was having a good experience working at this church. I mean, even hiking and going on overnight trips, backpacking trips, camping trips with the head leader of this said church. And guess what happened to this father of two who's got to pay bills? Out of the blue, this church came to him and said, you're fired. You know how I know that's actually happened to me once in my life, where I was just shocked and I was fired. And if that's happened to you, you know how freaking horrible that feels, how enraged you feels, how shocked you feels, and how much that hurts you, and how scary that is. Now think about this. Why did they fire him like that? Well, they said they wanted to go in a different direction. But if this leader of this church, just a metaphor, were to first do these steps, show David his humanity, his confusion, his pain that he's not connecting with David for whatever reason it is, right? First, show him like, hey, David, I'm having a hard time with your work ethic or your attitude. If he were to then ask David for partnership, hey, David, can we work together? Can we make some changes? Would David have liked that? If you were David, would you like to be treated this way? If you were David, would you like to be treated this way by someone who has power over you? Where they show you their humanity, they ask you for partnership. Would you like the people who have power over you to try for a win-win? Negotiate, shift. Step 4, if it wasn't working out and they were going to discipline you or fire you or cut your pay, would you like to just have them do that to you, where they just shock you and do this? Or would you rather say, hey, we just got to let you know, we've been working with you here, and it's just, if this doesn't improve, this is what we're going to do. Would you prefer that? And if they do that, whether you're working at church or you're working At McDonald's or Google, would you like them to have some humanity for you? Yes. So it makes me wonder, why did this man fire my friend David in that fashion? Does he have these tools in his toolbox? So, if you raise your kids this way, well, by the time they're bosses and they're ready to fire somebody, they're going to do it with a lot of love and compassion. They're going to bring out the best in the people around them. They're going to work hard and be patient with the people that they're working with your future grandchildren, to bring out the best in them. And so as we close, I want you to think, why would we do this type of discipline? Why would we be so patient with our kids before we use discipline? I want to invite you to answer that question in about 30 seconds. Why should we be so patient and go through these steps before we bring down the hammer of discipline? Thanks for coming, everybody. Love to get your thoughts on that.